Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be talking about what types of margins coin dealers operate on. And I think that this video is going to sort of clear up some questions for a lot of people because they're wondering, am I going to get ripped off if I go and sell my coins to the local coin shop? Or how are my coins going to do really when I go to sell them if I don't sell them myself? And I think that the question is pretty complicated. I'm going to try to take a crack at it because there's a lot of different types of dealers. It could be like a wholesaler, it could be, a silver bullion dealer or gold bullion dealer. It could be sort of high-end tone coins or people working on commission. There's a lot of different things to think about here, so let me try to explain. So I think I've heard a lot of people talk about I try to hit 15 or 20% margins when dealing coins, and this is more of the local coin shop, and I actually think that that is a little bit low. So I think that they're making more money than 15 to 20%, though that's maybe at the end of the day what they make because there are a lot of costs with operating a store. So you really have to think, what is the type of person that I'm going to be selling to? Because there's people who have a brick and mortar shop and they're paying rent and they're paying a lot of utilities and they're paying all the coin dealers are paying quite a bit in fees when they're selling coins. They're also paying fees because they're maybe grading coins or they are in different dealer networks that charge a fair amount of money. So I think that there's the end of the day margin is different from they're buying a $100 coin from you for $50, selling it for a 95 sticker on eBay and then getting hit with like 13 or 14% fees after shipping. There's a lot of different, and maybe paying the guy to go do that. So I think that there's a lot of different ways to sort of approach this question, but that's the gist of it is, your local coin shop, it's going to be a much different process as well for buying bullion as it is for buying a collectible coin that's in a PCGS holder. Or NGC holder, if that makes sense. Because if you have something really easy, say it's 100 or 1,000 or 10 face value of silver coins, if it's 100 or probably more like 500, 1,000 face, they can make a quick call to the bullion dealing networks that they are a part of and get the best price and then quote you like 5%, 10% under what that number is. But maybe you don't quite have that much and it's like, you've got 13 or 14 silver coins, they're going to have to put that in a bin somewhere and wait until they have enough where they can make one of those calls. So they're probably going to have to pay, maybe like 15 to 20% under the silver value to insulate them. I had a collection once I paid like $3,000 or $4,000 for silver, and silver literally dropped like 8 or 9% the next day, and I had to work really hard and I broke even. So now when I purchase silver, I'm a little smarter about how I go about doing it. But that's just sort of like the margins on the bullion stuff. And I've seen, with, say, 500 American Silver Eagles, a dealer work on like $1 a coin, just make a $500 profit transaction and have it out the next day. Maybe they spend like an hour and a half working on it total. Plus, they're hoping that the shipping, gets there. So there's some risk that these dealers are taking. And then they make $500 for like an hour and a half. Not bad. Other times, there's a much bigger split. So that's, when you buy coins, you want to think, how am I going to get out of them? Or do I care about how I'm going to get out of them? Because some people don't, and that's sort of reasonable. Like, not everybody has to, buy coins in a smart way necessarily. I have a lot of videos on doing how to buy coins in a smart way. But a lot of the dealers, again, when you have a coin, let's say it's a half cent, and it's not in a holder, and it's not like a key date or anything, but it's worth like $80 retail, I bet a coin dealer is going to pay around $20, $25 or maybe like $35 for it. And maybe, in a shop, because they're going to go on eBay, they're going to have to list it, they're going to have to take the time to then when it sells, monitor it. If they get it at the right price, they then take a 13% hit plus about $4 to ship it. And they spend the time packing it out, printing it out. It's a little tougher than it sounds. Or, maybe they work on a much different model, which I'll explain in a few moments. But they also, again, like they can't spend 30 minutes buying, a few coins from you and then turn around and make like $20 total on the group after they work pretty hard beyond those 30 minutes. So I think that the margin that coin dealers are generally operating on very easy to trade commodities are more like 10-15%, and then can be up to like 30-35%. Plus, in a big collection, a model is often to pay at like the 15% level for most of it. Then you have a group of kind of junk or just stuff that the seller hasn't really researched a ton, and the coin dealer doesn't necessarily know that it's in there, but then they're going to go and be able to make a profit because, say, there's some uncirculated Morgan dollars in the group, or there's like a rare date that they didn't have time to look for but is in there. So that's why it's also important for you, if you've inherited a collection or something like that, do a lot of research. I would say even if you spend 10 hours or 15 hours and it ends up that you only make 150 more, there's stories of people selling coins for thousands below what they would have otherwise sold for. So it's just a smart thing to make sure that you don't get caught up in. Now, the next category is wholesalers, and I don't have really the best understanding of the wholesaling business because I haven't worked in one, but there's different, some people that I know are just, there's a lot of dealers really that are only selling to other dealers, and, even chains of like dealer to dealer to dealer to dealer, and then it gets sold to a collector. So there's people who are doing millions of dollars a year in gross volume, and then they're making like 5, 7, 8%, and it's extremely lucrative if you can do that really well. And a lot of people, or a few people, or maybe a medium amount of people, can do it quite well. Super, super profitable, and they're often working with just a few clients. They're not at all touching any collections that are walking through a door. They don't have a shop, but they're just sort of a middleman. And it's so different from like a stock market. Think about like a stock market exchange that's making money when you're doing trading. Well, they're basically being the exchange to get these. They're buying coins that they know they can already sell for 5 or 10% more, and they're just doing that all day long and doing quite well with it. There's like Gray Sheet that people use for good bid-ask prices. There's a lot of different tools, and often it's a network. So say the wholesaler knows like 20 different people and can have a sense of who pays the strongest on every item. It's really an information game, and the information is not that readily available. So people who can sort of tap into it can do quite well from a wholesaling aspect. Now, one thing on the dealer side, and often in general, that people miss is like toned coins or really special rare coins, varieties. Those are the places where people can do outstanding margins, like they can 20 times their money. And this also is going to loop in with probably a third important category, which is crack out guys. And so these people, they have a really good eye, they're really good at grading, and they can find coins that are in mid-state 65 holders. They know that they're going to get a 66, or much better would be to find coins in mid-state 67 holders that can go to 68, because there's a huge value jump in a lot of the older coins in that category. So these guys are approaching things differently. If they, they're sort of betting on their, and I sort of neglected the first part. I'll talk about crack out right now. They're betting on their own ability to find the right coins to crack out and grade, because if you can buy a coin that's worth $1,000, and say grading, you go do show walkthrough, $75 a coin, sounds tough, but when that next grade up is worth, $5,000, you can probably get that coin, put it through grading like 8-10 times, and sometimes it gets it on the first one, sometimes it gets it on the 8th, and sometimes you cut your losses. But when you get that, 1,000 to 5,000 jump, then you can probably sell it quickly for like $4,250, and your profit is like $3,000, maybe minus a few hundred for more grading than usual, or the ones where you don't get the upgrade. Now that's really a tough game. A lot of people try to play it and fail miserably, but the people who do it well, they definitely exist, and it's a really specialized part of grading that is awesome. A lot of people will sort of talk about all the coins that they make, and then they're constantly losing money on other ones. Even the best guys are losing money on a fair amount, but obviously they're doing well, and that's one of the ways I think that people get really high end. All of these categories, you can be really good at collection purchasing, really good at wholesaling, really good at crackouts, and you can do quite well in all of them. I also mentioned the tone coins. That's sort of a good candidate for the crackout stuff, but people sometimes, can find the right buyer. That's something that a lot of the wholesalers, the crackout guys, really don't want to deal with too often, is like the the process of selling individually to the end buyers, because that can be a pain. But when you have some toned coins, if you can place it right to the one person who appreciates the toning the most, that's going to be great, because then you can have a huge value upswing. Same thing with like variety coinage. I enjoy hunting for varieties and talking about them on the channel. It's not a liquid market, but if you can find the varieties, you can do quite well. Though people generally don't make a living searching for varieties. That's more of a hobby where you can make a good little bit of extra money, because it's so, all you have to do is find the right ones, pay for them as normal coins, and then you can, one of my friends just picked out a 1961 Franklin $half proof double die reverse and made like $5,000 right off of eBay. So it definitely exists, but how sustainable is that? And there's a lot of people searching for them. Often you're not going to be able to get anywhere near if you're just a pure play variety person. I think another type of person is maybe a mix of all of these, but people who do shows often can do quite well, because they go around, they buy all the coins, and they have sort of both the wholesaler mindset, or just the mindset of being able to put the coin to the person who's going to pay the most, the dealers who are going to pay the most. So if they're looking through tons of coins from, say, a shop, they can pick right through, maybe hit some of the major varieties, but really focus on what are the coins that are undergraded or priced, at a grade level below, or 2 grade levels below what the coin is worth, and then get those coins, immediately send it off to the right dealers who will then sell them. And the shows, there's a lot of people who can do that well. They can often work on thinner margins because they don't have a brick and mortar shop, which causes those people to have to pay more for it. But again, the thing is, the wholesalers don't want to deal with somebody who just inherited a collection, for the most part, unless it's a crazy good collection. The people who get dealt with are the ones who, the brick and mortars will take in these large collections because they're providing convenience. Because you yourself can go research all the coins, put them on eBay, let it sit for months, maybe years, deal with all the packing, deal with the risk of shipping problems, of the buyer complaining that the coin is not good. There's a lot, it's not like these people are ripping them off. You're paying, essentially you're paying them a little bit to give you the convenience of the ability to sell right away. We talked a little bit about bullion dealers, but there's certainly a lot more like we buy gold shops in many places versus like actual coin dealers. Those people, some of them actually work on pretty tough, like large margins, just because there are some places where the model is just to rip off people every once in a while, like at crazy amounts that a lot of dealers would say is immoral or unjustifiable. But I guess if people, the defense is probably the person selling it could have done the research themselves and realized that their 1 ounce of gold is not worth $300, is worth like $1,700 to a dealer, $1,650 when the price is $1,800 as it is at the time I'm making this video. So if that makes sense, there's different models of bullion dealers. The really serious ones, they can make a very good living for themselves just by being a good connector, and just buying and selling big volumes just like a wholesaler. But a lot of the sort of we buy gold shops are places to avoid. I sort of like actual coin shops a lot better than the we buy gold, but that's just been my experience with calling around for pricing when people are, maybe when I'm trying to sell some of my coins. And then lastly, there's people who do commission-based dealing, and I've done it a few times. I think it can work well in the right positions, but it's better to have a commission when it's just a few really high-end coins. I'll charge a lot more if I am doing a commission sale and it's selling a lot of individual items, and then I'm going to be picky about which types I'll do this for, because if I have to think about things in hourly terms. So I don't want to get into a deal just frankly where I'm making like $10 an hour, $12 an hour. So then in that case, I'll probably try to buy the coins outright and have better margins for myself, and same with other dealers. But if you have a few coins that are each valued at several $1,000s, maybe partner up with some of the better, it could often just be going to an auction house or a trusted dealer that can shop it around, have your best interests in mind, and make, could be 10, 15, 20% based off of what the coin is. I mean, if it's really tough, if it's tougher to sell, if it's like low dollar items, you're gonna have to pay more. But if it's like thousands each, and it's just a small group of coins, it's probably gonna, a lot of people will be willing to compress their margins, probably to like 10% or 15%. It really depends. I mean, if it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, then you're probably just gonna want to go with one of the big auction houses, shop it around a little bit, and the big dealers, see who's gonna work on the best terms for you. But that basically concludes this video. I don't know if there's groundbreaking stuff, but hopefully, especially for people who haven't thought about it quite as much, could sort of explain why there are these different tiers. Really, it's just about avoiding the rip-off artists and then thinking to yourself, what's the difference between selling to a coin shop here? Maybe you are selling most of this stuff, and then sort of the high-end stuff like a uncirculated Morgan dollar is sort of a basic example. That where maybe it's worth like $150, you're probably going to get a much worse rate than versus like bulk silver Morgan dollars that are in good or fine condition or something like that. So anyways, hope this is helpful, and I'll see you on some videos in the future. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. I've also got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so you can follow me there. TreasuretownYT.com is the main channel website. Definitely give that a visit. I've got a lot of information about me up there and the channel. CoinGrabBag.com as well currently redirects there, but it's some good opportunities for very fair grab bags, both made by me and other sellers. A lot of different options, so that's a good way to support. There's also TreasuretownCoins.com. In the future, my coin dealing operation will be done out of that website. CoinMeltPrice.com for updates on the melt prices of your coins, both US and world. A lot of resources in that website. And then CoinsMetalsCards.com being developed right now as a marketplace and news source for coins, metals, cards, and collectibles in general. So I'll see you on my future videos. Looking forward to seeing you there, and hope you have a good day.